Britton joins us for this edition of Author's Corner. She's written a book called Journeying, Where Shamanism and Psychology Meet. Right there, that is intriguing in itself, the title. Hey, Jeannette, thanks for coming on.
Yes.
So tell us about this book. How did you come up with this, your background?
Well, I'm a licensed psychologist, and after I graduated from school, I did various things and then discovered about journeying, and I began to journey.
Yeah, and for people who don't know, tell us what journeying is.
Well, the ancient tradition of shamanism dates back to the Paleolithic times. Europe has the oldest evidence. Animal skulls and bones believed to be shamanic ritual offerings found at sites inhabited between 50,000 and 30,000 years BC. Shamanic beings were depicted on the walls of prehistoric caves. Berche Eliade found documents based on widely diverse cultures containing common threads, including descriptions of the cosmic region visited on ecstatic journeys.
So for you, venturing into shamanism, what was that like? What is it like to make that leap?
Well, it changed my life because this is all about healing, and learning how to do it for oneself is very beneficial.
Is it hard to learn how to do it? Does it take a while to really be able to do what you can do, like a shaman, for example, that are people who are believed to interact with the spirit world through altered states of consciousness? That would be the definition. And to be able to do that, is it hard to put yourself, especially with the psychology background, how do you put yourself in that space?
Well, the shaman journeys to one of three dimensions: a lower world, a middle world, and an upper world, all connected by a central axis. In this axis is an opening through which the gods come down the earth. The dead move to the underworld, and the shaman, in her ecstasy, flies to the sky or descends into subterranean realms.
So with a background in psychology, do you think that helped you in understanding shamanism and the road where they meet?
Absolutely.
And what did you find out?
The purpose of shamanism is to heal. The function of psychology is to study behavior and mental processes and to apply the resulting knowledge to the human condition. Regardless of the differences, both shamanism and psychology seek to relieve suffering in the communities of people.
Yeah. Do you think that I mean, how interesting, do you think that makes you a better psychologist because of that background?
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting because, again, it's striving to figuring out what you can find out. And you know this, Jeannette, now more than ever, so many people are struggling with all kinds of issues, and it's becoming more public. There's more conversation about it. Do you think that's healthier?
Yes. Of note is that with this coronavirus, it's changed many people's thoughts and reactions to how they live and what needs to happen. Yeah,
and for healing, you have to. Do you find that patients and people you've been around and people who have had success in that, you have to invest in it, right? Invest in really working through things.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think there's that tendency that so many of us have that we want it fixed now. Just, doc, fix us. Figure out what we can do. Just tell us, and let's get moving on it. So in writing the book, what was your biggest surprise?
Learning that we can indeed heal ourselves, and we don't need other people or gurus to do so.
So if you follow this and really kind of embrace it, and you find that road, as you say, the book is called Journeying, Where Shamanism and Psychology Meet, you can take it on yourself. And have you seen this work for other people?
Yes.
Wow. And what was that like to see that? I mean, that's a breakthrough.
Well, it's very encouraging, and as violence sits at our doorstep and the threat of extinction sounds in our ears, we can turn to journeying for a pathway of communication to our soul. Guided to the lower world and the upper world, we not only watch but actually animate the unfolding of an exquisite story featuring ourselves and the gods of our being.
When you first did this, was it kind of scary?
No, I always sensed that there was something more. You know, I was born into the Catholic religion, and I believe that there was something far beyond that.
And so, wow. So in doing this, you talk about it in the book, and you talk about how it's been such a game changer for you in journeying that helps people with all kinds of things, not just neurosis or whatever, but also people who have had to deal with death, right?
Exactly.
And that, as from your point of view in spending your life working with people, is that one of the hardest things to deal with?
Well, in some ways it is, but as I said before, I think people are longing for this and are very pleased when they can grasp it and begin to internalize it into their own reality.
Yeah. When in writing the book, did you feel like the book kind of just flowed out of you, or was it something that took you a little bit of time and you thought about it and it took a while for you to get that story out?
Well, I did a lot of reading, and I took some shamanic healing classes, and that helped a great deal.
Yeah. In what is the biggest misconception about shamanism, do you think?
That's a good question. I think people think that it's sort of a joke or a trickery thing.
Right. Trickery, I like that, because of what you've just said and what you do and how you heal and that kind of thing. And you talk about the historic matrix of shamanism.
Yeah.
And the historic, and you mentioned that in the very beginning, and where it started and what's happened, and the seekers, and the people that are seekers are the people that are looking for those answers we're talking about, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Best thing for you about writing the book?
What was your question?
What's the best thing about writing the book for you, having it published and being out there?
Well, I felt that that I had actually achieved something that was very integral to me, and I was very grateful for that.
Yeah. Growing up, as you mentioned, with Catholicism, becoming a doctor of psychology, did you ever think that you would end up writing this book and looking into shamanism and combining that whole thing with journeying?
Well, I think when I was a child, I would go to confession and to the priest and say, I have bad thoughts. But what is a bad thought?
Right. Wow. So, and look how far you've come, circled back around. What do you ultimately hope, and I think we've really weaved this in here, that you can heal yourself and that this is a road and what journeying is and how the two meet. What do you hope people take away from reading your book, though?
At this soulful center, warmed and anchored by the alchemy matrix of the shamanic journey, the angst of the world can be contained and transformed, and that is so important now.
Right, to have transformation because of, as you mentioned, all the things that we're dealing with, and how it feels like we're at this crossroads, and talking about the pandemic, etc., right?
Yes, that's very well put, and I think this provides humankind an opportunity to make a leap into the void.
I like that. Make a leap into the void. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, it's a pioneering book. There's no question about that. Jeannette Gagan, Journeying, where shamanism and psychology meet. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, it was my pleasure, and thank you for inviting me.